Finally, Abdulrahman Bello has been sentenced to death by hanging for the brutal killing of his Facebook girlfriend Yetunde Lawal. But there's still one more problem. The father of the girl, despite the fact that this is a victory, has expressed that this is just the first stage, that there is still one more thing he wants the judge to do. For those who don't remember the story, earlier this year, a young final year student of Kwara State University was at a child's dedication in Kwara State, where she lived with her family, with her parents. But she was attending a child dedication. While she was there, her Facebook boyfriend, someone she has been chatting with on Facebook for a while, invited her over to his place, and she goes to his place hoping that, okay, something was gonna happen. You know, she's an adult. She thought this was a guy who was into her, only for her to ended up being strangled, suffocated, eaten, murdered. Some sources said she was even sexually assaulted, and then after he killed her, he butchered her into multiple pieces and pretty much took some parts of her body for certain charms and to probably distribute to certain native doctors and whatnot. He was immediately caught because her mobile phone was traced to him, presumably, and that was how the whole case blew up. And since then, it has been in court. If you also recall, other people were arrested with him. There were other people arrested with him, but in one of the court videos we saw, he was telling the judge that only he did it, basically. And we were like, okay, it's not your place to tell us whether it's only you that did it. If the police feels like all these other people should be tried as well, then they will be tried. So keep your mouth shut, Mr. Abdulrahman Bello. But in the end, barely 6 months into this case, the judge has found him guilty and have also sentenced him to death by hanging. For the others, they were set free. There was not enough evidence to tie the rest people to the killing of this young woman. So luckily for them, they've been discharged and acquitted. However, despite the death sentence, the father of the girl feels like the government of Kwara State needs to sign the execution order, needs to put it in signature that yes, he should be killed, and a date will be set and a method. Basically, we already know he was going to be killed by hanging, and pretty much just to set the date and have him be killed. And this is where there will be a bit of problem, just a little bit. I might be ignorant on this part, but I feel like for the government to sign the execution warrant, it means the person would have to be killed on the spot, like literally. However, in a very long time in Nigerian judicial system, people who have been sentenced to death are usually not killed. I can't remember the last time somebody was executed or killed. Even Chief Otokoto, they said he died in prison. Some people said he was executed privately. But, you know, most of these people who get death sentence these days end up spending life in prison. Many of them are only mostly condemned. So they get to stay in prison because the government, the governor, whoever is in charge, would have to sign it into execution that, okay, yes, you guys can now take him and go and kill him. And that is what the father of Yetunde Lawal wants. And I don't know if he's going to get it. Depends on the connection he has. But so far, from what I can recall, there have been so many death sentences that have been lingering on over 20 years now. And many of those people are in prison. Many of them are serving life as condemned inmates. So many of them would be there till maybe a prison break and they escape, or, you know, maybe till half the world forgets their sin and then they come back. And I think maybe that's what the father of Yetunde Lawal is avoiding. He does not want this boy to have a chance to come back into this society. So he is really fighting for the government to sign into execution. And from what I learned also, many governors are afraid to do that. With the advent of religion and advent of faith and people not wanting to, because when the government or the governor, whoever is in charge of signing this thing, They're the ones who basically is killing. So it's like signing somebody to die, and nobody wants to do that. I don't know if any governor from this era want to be the one to sign it. So they usually just leave it for the next person to come and see it, and that person leaves it for the next person. And at the end of the day, these people who are sentenced to death spend the rest of their life in prison till their age and die there. Had it been we had other methods of execution, we don't see firing squad anymore, and I don't know if we have lethal injection, but that usually happens really privately and really secretly. But death by hanging, that would have to be televised, filmed, so that we would know, so that everybody would know, so that the family of the victim would also know that their daughter's killer has also been killed. So, and I don't know if that would change anything. It would be interesting to see. This is the first time I'm seeing a family of a victim of murder come out to express that they want the government to sign the execution warrant. This is the first time. Usually after the death sentence, that's it. We stop hearing about the story. Everybody moves on with their life. This is the first in history, and we'll get to see how his fight goes, because it will be interesting to see this monster actually being executed. It will be interesting. I would love to see it. So let's see how it goes. Stay following, stay subscribed. If there's an update on this story, I will let you guys know.